And next, I would like to introduce our honorary speaker. We chose this man because we thought that he best represented our class as a whole. He has watched us grow up throughout the years, and he has been there every single step of the way with some of the best advice. Even though I've heard his talks what seems like 100 times, there's always something new that I and we can learn from him. He's opened my eyes in so many different ways, and I'm so incredibly thankful that he's a part of our graduation, our community, and our lives. I would like to introduce a very special honorary speaker for the class of 2015, Todd Musselman.
Thank you guys, and welcome. I want to welcome the parents, the staff, the faculty. I want to welcome the class of 2015. How about a big hand for you guys? I want to thank Kevin Tallman, Brad Meeks, Hannah for that nice introduction, and the selection committee for choosing me. It's an amazing honor to be up here. And when I first got confirmation that I was a speaker today, I went through two very distinct emotions. The first emotion was excitement. I was excited to have an hour and a half of your time today. It was... What? The second emotion, I must be honest, I'm terrified. I was absolutely terrified. Some of you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, dude, you speak for a living. And I do, but I don't speak to you for a living. And what I mean by that is, and it's very likely that I won't get through this. I've watched you grow, a lot of you. And it's a big deal to be in this room with you guys and be up here. Sure, I speak to a living, but I don't get to watch what's been before my eyes for so many of you, and it's a true honor. And, you know, so I am terrified. I was terrified. I am to this moment. And that's okay. It's okay to experience fear. In fact, I experience it a lot in my life, as I'm sure you do. And there's a lot of things we can do with fear. We can be used by fear, or we can use our fear. And so today, we're going to talk a little bit about fear for a minute. You know, I've been, for the last 3 weeks, I've been a little bit terrified, and I've experienced a lot of nausea in my stomach. And it was overwhelming, so much so that on Wednesday, I gave in. And I drove down to Lyons Drugs, and I bought a pregnancy test. Seriously. And fortunately, I took the test, and it wasn't pink. Big relief there. It wasn't blue either. It was red. I've never seen red. I'm not familiar with it, so I went on the website of the manufacturer, and what I read was, red means stop, you moron. You're a male. Get some help. And so I'm here to talk a little bit about fear, because I think fear is so powerful. The fear that showed up for me when I was first asked to speak is a fear that I think most of us, if not all of us, can relate to, and the fear was, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to pull this off. It showed up big. It showed up a lot in my life, and it's had me play small a lot. And when you play small, it limits you. It limits your ability to create any results that you can be proud of. And when I say fear has showed up and I've played small, I mean it. I've chosen out of a lot of things, you guys, just as some of you have. Some of you might have wanted to try out for a team, an athletic team, or some of you might have wanted to try out for the play, but something got in the way. And it's the same thing that got in the way for me. And some of you might have had a crush on somebody in high school, and still do. And what got in the way of making that phone call is what? The fear of not being good enough. But here's the crazy thing about that fear. It couldn't possibly be true. See, as Norma said, when you're in this moment, the one we're having right now, all that fear disappears. Right now, I have no fear because I'm in this moment. When you're in this moment, the magic of life is experienced, and there is no fear. It's when we're thinking about the past or some made-up future, that's where the fear comes from. And what's so wild about fear, to me anyway, is most of it's made up. It's not even real. And yeah, it determines so much of what we are up to in our life. So much. And so I ask you to think about, well, where could I be if I didn't have that fear? What would I have done even in this high school experience if I had not let fear get in the way? And we can't go back, but what we can do is use it as information and an upliftment for our future, because guess what? Unfortunately, I'd love to tell you that when you walk out that door and the end of this chapter is over, the fear doesn't end. It stays with you, and it goes with you. And so, how do we use this fear? There's only one way to overcome fear that I know of. It's with love. Loving what you're up to, loving the people that you're with, loving yourself so much that the fear is just what's interesting about fear is it is often a compass pointing us in what we most want. If only we could get beyond the fear. Use fear. Don't be used by fear. See, the thing that shows up and the thing that we object to is we don't want to be uncomfortable, right? So we stay comfortable, but comfort is way overrated. There's no growth in comfort. I've never known anybody to grow when they're comfortable. Well, that's not exactly true, actually. If you're on the couch and you have the remote long enough and you're quite comfortable, you will grow. That's a fact. But that's not the kind of growth I'm talking about. I'm talking about the growth that has you living into your spirit, who you're meant to be on this planet, which is to make a difference. And what's so wild is you make a difference every day and you don't even notice it. You don't even notice this little smile, the little comment that makes a difference in a friend's life. You don't even know, and you won't until you're in my shoes as a parent, how incredible of a difference you make every day when you get up. No kidding. And sometimes as teenagers that's in question whether you're actually going to get up. I get that. In fact, I want to congratulate you guys for being here. You made it, like as in here, right now. It's before noon. Good for you. So today is a lot about a reinvention. See, I've known a lot of people, and I've worked with a lot of people that live an amazingly full and happy life. And what I've noticed about them is they're really good at a couple things. But they're big things. They're not hard things. They're pretty simple, but they're big. What I've noticed about people that are living full and happy lives is they're good at making requests, bold requests of themselves and others. Asking for what they want in their life, because you know what? No one knows what you want unless you ask. I've noticed that. I've noticed that people that live full and happy lives tend to love risk. And they're okay with failure because they get that failure is just something to learn from. It's not a referendum on your good enoughness. What I've also noticed about people that are living full and happy lives is they love discomfort for the growth. They're curious. They never stop learning. Reinvention has no age limit. It has no age limit. I was in a training once, not doing a training, and the instructor, there was a woman in our group who was 92 years old. Coming to a personal growth seminar at 92, the cool thing was she had her two boys in the seminar. They were 71 and 69 years old. I'm not making this up. And so the instructor, as fascinated as we all were with him, he asked her, why, you're 91 years old, why would you come to this seminar? And she didn't hesitate for 1 minute. You know what she said? Because I want to be a better mom. No kidding. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. In fact, if you really want to be honest, every day is a reinvention. Every day is an opportunity to change and be a different person. One of the biggest disservices that I've ever heard of in life, perpetrated on us as human beings, is this phrase: you know me, I am who I am. What a load of you know what that is. I'm not kidding. You are who you are in this moment. You want to change it? Change it. Be somebody different, because you can anytime you want. It's up to you. And so there's a lot of people out in that real world out there that are going to challenge your good enoughness. And it's up to you to just stay present, stay in this moment, start creating, because when we're creating, that's when we're in the moment. We're born to create as human beings. It's when we stop creating, that's when we become what I call the victim. We are meant to own our spirit. We are meant to create great results, and the only way that I know to do that is create. And don't let fear get in the way. So I'd like to tell you a quick story about a reinvention of my own life. I've had several reinventions. They've all been quite fun if you love fear and failure. When I was 24, I had a pretty amazing week in my life. On a Monday, I got asked to try out for the U.S. rugby team, which was pretty cool. I was pretty excited about that. On Friday, something miraculous happened. I graduated from Colorado State. And when I say miraculous, I mean miraculous. You see, I'm living proof that you can transcend a GPA that's in the low twos. I had a 2.01 GPA coming out of high school. And the reason that I know that is my mom, about 3 years ago, thought it would be a good idea to pull my transcripts out and show them to my kids, thereby neutering me as a parent. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what happened. And so any credibility, any accountability to my kids, it was over in that moment. How could I hold them accountable to grades? And so as a result of that awareness, I did the only thing that Americans know to do well. I sued my mom. We're in a very bitter battle right now in the dispute. The bizarre thing for me is I'm her favorite, so you can imagine how difficult that is. Just kidding. I didn't sue my mom. She did show my kids my transcripts, though. Nice. On Saturday of that same week, which was a miraculous week in my life, I was playing rugby in Wash Park, and I was running down the field, and I made a pass, and when I planted my left foot, this ginormous guy, about 280 pounds, hit my shin, and my foot stayed where it was, and my leg shifted over, and I dislocated my ankle and severed both arteries internally. And in one moment, my whole life changed. For 23 years or 20-some years, I was an athlete, and then in one moment, I wasn't anymore. What do I do now? Well, I did what most people would do, I think. I had one of the greatest pity parties the world's ever seen. I felt so sorry for myself. It was awesome. I sat in my parents' bedroom, and I kept saying these two phrases over and over again. See if they sound familiar to you. This is the worst thing that's ever happened, and life isn't fair. How many of you guys have said something like that in your life about something that's happened to you? This is the worst thing and life isn't fair. And I was sure that was the truth. And so one of the great things about being in a pity party and being in that victim mindset is you tend to get other people that are victims into your group. You form a club. It's awesome. It's called the Victims Club. And what you do in the Victims Club is you start telling your sad story to everybody that will listen, because they're all victims too. It's awesome. Except for one thing, it doesn't lift the boat, it doesn't lift your spirit. It takes you further down the rabbit hole. So I was in that mode for quite a while, about 3 weeks, and then my mom, as only moms can do, came and changed my life in about 45 seconds. I'll never forget it. I just hung up the phone with one of my friends, victim friends, and my mom came in and she'd had enough. She looked at me, she said, Todd, you know, no one is more devastated by what happened to you than I am. I'm your mom. I'm so sorry. I've seen how hard you worked for this. But here's the thing. Every time you got on that field, you knew this could happen, and I did. I knew it. I've been hurt. I got injured out of playing college football. I've been hurt a lot, so I knew the risks. And she looked at me and said, so it's about time you accept what happened and figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. Holy crap. I was pissed. But then I started thinking about it. And it wasn't long that I really got what she was saying, what she was calling me to see, that I am responsible for my life, just as you are. I am the cause of my life, just as you are. And what she was just showing me to see is that I am responsible for everything in my life, and it's up to me to decide what I'm going to do with it. And so, as fate would have it, the next morning I got up to get something out of my closet where I grew up, and I crawled over there, literally crawled, I couldn't walk. And I went over to get something out of my closet, a piece of clothing, and I came out with a new life. Because at the back of the closet was this thing that I played for 3 months when I was 12 called a guitar. That looks interesting. I knew 3 chords, just enough to be dangerous. So I pulled it out and I started to play, and I played a lot because I had a lot of time on my hands. I was on crutches for 9 months. It was a lot of time. And I'd love to tell you my ascension was like this, like I just got better every day, but that would be a lie. How many of you guys are familiar with plateaus? You like those? They're kind of frustrating. I had many of them. I wanted to smash that guitar so many times I can't tell you, but I didn't. As it turned out, those 9 months were some of the best 9 months of my life. Not so much for my parents. They're still in therapy. I was so bad for so long. But I got better, and 2 years after that accident, I'm in New Zealand on a fly fishing trip, and I'm in a hut, and there's other human beings in the hut, and there's beer in the hut, and there's a guitar in the hut. And the ironic thing about comfort, Sue, I can tell you about comfort a lot. I played in the comfort of my house for 2 years. Not one person in my life knew that I played. I was too scared. Here comes fear again, holding me back. But a little liquid courage, a little encouragement from the people, and I played my first live song. And what that did to my spirit. See, when I was done with athletics, I was sure I would never, ever connect to my spirit like that again, like being in the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're on the field or when you're in the play or whatever, it is incredible. That's the magic of this moment. I thought I'd never see it again, never feel it, but then I played my first live song. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where it is. And it was such a profound experience. I came home and I started a band, and I played for another 2 years, and we were god-awful for a long time too. But we got better. And 2 years after I came back from New Zealand, I'm playing on stage in front of 500 people in Vail. Now what do I say about my ankle? This might be the what? The best thing that ever happened. So, here's the message. First of all, I promise you I'm not going to shoot on you. I promise you. I don't believe on shooting on people, and I'm not going to start right now. I don't have any advice for you. Does everybody understand what I said? Shoot on you. How many of you guys like that when people shoot on you? Do you like that? I'm not going to do that, but I do have some awarenesses that I want to share. The first one is this. Accepting what is the most difficult thing we do as human beings. And what I mean by that, and it's very, very difficult to do, accepting what is what my mom called me out. Todd, you need to accept what happened. And what she meant is you need to accept what is, which is this. Your life is exactly as it should be in this moment, because it can't be any other way. And you are the cause of your life. And some of you might be in this auditorium right now thinking, hold on a minute, dude, my life isn't so great. What do you mean it's exactly as it should be? I mean it's exactly as it should be, because it can't be any other way. And anytime we think our life should be different than it actually is, there's only one outcome. That's called suffering. I don't like suffering more than I have to. So accepting what is freedom too, to know that I'm responsible for my life and everything in it. The second thing that I got from that experience was this. When one door closes, another one opens. That's a great saying. The thing is, you still got to walk through it. Your spirit will meet you at the point of action. I want to say that one more time. Your spirit will meet you at the point of action. The biggest thing in life when we're stuck is to take an action, do something, do anything to create a result. Don't let that fear beat you down. The third lesson is this. When you hit a plateau, keep going. As Winston Churchill said, when you get to hell, keep going. Keep going, persevere. Don't stop. Don't let that fear stop you. And the fourth thing that I took from that thing is, initially, I made it mean it was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I believed it. And then I made it mean it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I believed it. But the thing is, neither one are true. And this is really why I told you that story. Because that story isn't my life, that story is your life too. See, there's going to be a lot of things as you go out in the real world, so to speak, that are going to happen, and they're not all going to be fun. I get that. I almost would be sad if you didn't have challenges, because that's where the juice is. So the thing is, what are you going to make it mean? Because whatever happens to you has no meaning until you give it meaning. All that happened was my ankle got dislocated. It doesn't mean anything. What matters is, what do I make it mean? And at first I made it mean it was the worst, and it was the best. And that's your life. And that's your challenge. So today is the end of a chapter. It's the end of a very beautiful chapter. And you are not your high school persona. Some of you had a great experience in high school, and I get that. And some of you have had a less than great experience in high school. And what I would ask you, no matter what that category is who are you going to be going forward? Because this is the end of a chapter. And my experience would say, don't bring it into your future. Leave the past where it belongs, no matter what that past was. And if you've had a challenging experience, how can you use it for your upliftment? Because what I'm really showing you at some possibility is things are going to happen, and then you have a basic choice. Suffering, upliftment, you choose. And I chose suffering initially, then I chose upliftment. And you can too, on anything that's ever happened and anything that ever will happen. So, I'm going to sing a song right now. It's the very same song I sang in that hut so many years ago. I was 26 at the time, so roughly 3 years ago. So who would like to sing with me? I would ask that all the graduates stand up, please. You've been sitting for a while. And by the way, everybody's welcome to sing. I'm just going to ask that the graduates start with me on a chorus once they know the song. You'll know the song. Climbed highest mountains, and I have run through the fields, only to be with you, only to be with you. And I have run, I have crawled, and I have scaled these city walls, only to be with me. So sing it loud now, ready? But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. You guys can do better than that, right? Here we go. But nice. It was okay. We'll do it another one. Well, I have kissed honey lips and felt the healing in her fingertips. It burned like a fire, burning desire. And I have spoke the tongue of angels, and I have held the hand of the devil, was warm in the night, cold as a stone. All right, here we go. Ready? But I love that. Why don't you come on up here? In case anybody doesn't know, this is Caroline Wilson. So now I'm going to welcome just the parents to sing the chorus. Ready? But I haven't found what I'm looking for. Yeah. Apparently Caroline's a parent. Now just the faculty. Ready? But I'm... Yeah! Stay right here, Caroline.
I'm not moving.
All right. And I believe in the kingdom come, then all the colors will bleed into one. They'll bleed into one. Yes, I'm still running. You broke the bonds and you loosed the chains and carried the cross of my shame, oh, of my shame. No, I believe, just me and Carolyn, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Yeah! But I still haven't found what I'm looking. Everybody sing with us now, ready? But I still haven't found. One more time. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. How about a hand for Caroline? You guys can be seated. And by the way, I just wanted you to stand up to see if you would. That was pretty cool. All right, so I just, the last thing I want to just leave you with is this. So many things, actually, but I want you to imagine a big blank canvas. I want you to imagine that canvas, and it's out there, right out that door. And on that canvas, you get to paint whatever it is that you want to paint. What are you going to put on that canvas? Because at this stage, as it is for that woman that's 91, as it was for me at 24, anything is possible. It's up to you to decide what you put on that canvas, not just today, but every single day, because the truth is, at least for me, every single day when you wake up, guess what you wake up to? A blank canvas. It's up to you to decide, do I want to pull my high school experience into my future, or do I want to leave it where it belongs, in the past, remembering it as it was? Because I don't want anything on that canvas. I want nothing but possibility, which is exactly what you represent in the world. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share with you guys. I would be remiss. I'm going to say one final thing because I can. I want to thank my son Ryan. I want to thank him for the permission to come up here and be with you. I love you. I'm proud of all of you guys. Thank you very much.